bottom left-hand corner, ladies and gentlemen, from the Shopify Rebellion, it's his map pick. He says, yes, I want to go onto the big boy maps. Ladies and gentlemen, he is obviously Micro Jackson himself. It's Byun.
And his opponent, the top right, the 5-time GSL Codes champion for Onside Gaming. This is Maru.
All right. Rushi, are you prepared to analyze early gas timings and that sorts for this TVT?
Well, the short answer is no. The long answer is also no. But the good news is that we've already got stuff to talk about here in the fact that both players have taken their gas almost identical times. That's standard.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. So this is your standard TVT opening that we're going to be seeing right now. This is your barrack or your gas barracks gas. This just means that you are going to be going for that factory first. Most likely, both players will be going into Reapers and Hellions, and then you add on your command center most likely after the starport. I would assume for both these players. There's enough respect between Maru and Byun that I don't think any player is going to be exceptionally greedy with trying to take an early command center, because you know that your opponent can punish that and is more than capable of just walking it or moving these very quick early game units across the map and shutting that down, and then suddenly you are extremely far behind from there on out. So factories are going to come down for both players. This is just, I think as we kind of expected on Data C, a handshake on the early build, just saying, all right, we're both going to play. This is just very standard. Obviously you're going to have these units move across the map, but we'll see if it goes to the mid game and then kind of get a gauge of where each player is at.
Well, you're talking about the level of respect between the two players, and I don't disagree with that assessment at all. But I still think that there's going to be a point where we start pulling out some early game shenanigans. I mean, there's no reason that we couldn't see Maru double proxy. There's no reason we couldn't see Byun double proxy, just given their long history of doing so in a variety of level of events. I mean, how many times have we seen Maru pull up to Codes major events and it's like, oh, what's that? This is supposed to take like an hour and a half. What if I did it in 15? How about that? How's that sound?
Absolutely true. And I did misspeak earlier. It's command center before starport. But yeah, 2 Reapers and a Hellion for both players. This is about as safe as you can get with still getting your attack out in a reasonably quick time. If you know your opponent isn't going to be aggressive, if you want to have a bit more prominence on the map, you can of course go for 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions, is that kind of golden standard. But for being aggressive, for trying to get some stuff done, the 2 Reapers and the Hellion is absolutely fine. You see Byun here does produce an additional Whittle Mine. This is just for safety if his opponent did come across the map. It's another option that you can mix in stylistically if you'd like. Meanwhile, Maru, he's going for the tank. So this is going to be that kind of tank drop that I was talking about, that we've seen from a player, especially like Bunny in the Terran group that we did see in Group B. And what this means is that that big rush distance that you have on Data C, it is slightly negated because you have the ability for this medevac to boost across. It makes that a lot shorter. Interestingly enough, Byun is also loading up the Reapers, the Hellion, and also 4 Marines. And so these units, they're not actually going to cross paths. Byun has moved his down towards the bottom corner, and so with the earlier move out time for Byun, this is actually so good, because if you can get to that mineral line, you start finding damage. It suddenly forces Maru to try and be very aggressive, because only now are his units getting across the map, and this is where Byun is going to spring his trap as the Whittle Mine. Hellion will be sacrificed, and of course is absolutely fine. You want to keep the KD8 charges on the Reapers. The Hellion is the least useful of the units, but Cyclone now in the main. Gonna need to stop this drop as Byun getting 3 workers off the bat, but not much more as Maru pulls everything away.
Well, and that Cyclone is going to be incredibly important for the defense here for Maru, as it will start to zone away this medevac, but that's just going to buy time at this point. 1 Raven here to provide a little bit of cover and support, using that auto turret as well to take care of that tank. And so far, this has been a slightly even exchange here. Both players losing about 3 to 4 workers. Oh, that medevac getting so low, but hangs on for just a second as that Cyclone is going to get a tune-up. But right now, Maru is the one with the grip on Byun's production here. Maru's cleaned up back at home, and now it's Byun that has to try and find a way to push this tank back and out, but it will be a Cyclone whittling it down. That should be enough to at least shove it back to the natural ramp, but the aggression still continues.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, Maru, he sells his tank alive. The SCV's being put back on the natural just a little bit quick there. So you end up losing 3 more there for Byun that probably could have been avoided, but the tank goes down with the second auto turret. Has up to 3 Ravens here for Byun. Nice lock on by Maru. He's going to be able to get the Cyclone, but he should be able to push up the ramp with now the tank available for Byun. But the supply lead for Maru is actually just going to medevac up into the main, and he absolutely can, because the second tank has just been driven across the map. There was no medevac for that unit. He just walked it there. Now, again, another auto turret being placed down, but units on the low ground going to be able to clean it up. Tank on the high ground for Byun. The shots are going off, but it looks like Maru is going to be forced back for now, but still just trying to keep all this pressure. This is just Maru really just saying, listen, I think I can win it here, as auto turrets once again go down. This time, though, it looks like Byun is going to be able to swing this. The tank is still alive. The Ravens have energy for another auto turret soon. Maru's forced back, but behind all of this, I mean, you're really looking at the command center timing. Maru, 3rd CC already on the way, and really, I think we're going to be looking here at the Raven count to see what the plan is going to be for both these players. I don't think Maru really went up much past the first Raven, and so it's probably going to be getting up into a very, very early 1-1, and we should be seeing him look to now start to try and push that upgrade lead.
Well, and we just saw the units lost tab there. Incredibly efficient engagements here for Maru, who's managed to take out 11 workers of Byun and did not commit nearly as many Marine losses as well. And that's starting to show up here, right? I mean, 75 to 60 on the supply tab here, and there goes 3 more workers in of itself. So Maru continuing to find additional efficiency here. It's just an engagement that never seems to end for Byun, and he needs an opportunity to be able to just take a breath and start getting back into his macro path, but Maru's making it difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the second and third barracks are just so delayed here for Byun. So it's going to be a while until he's able to match the production of Maru, who already has stim packs started up. And with double engineering base done, we should see the gases now taken on this 3rd base right as it lands. 4th and 5th barracks up. Maru is just going to have the advantage in production. He's going to have the better timings here for getting his units out on the map. And that just means that there's going to be a long period of time here where Byun is going to be stuck in his bases. He's going to be stuck on his side of the map. There's not really a chance for him to comfortably move out. His engineering bays are only just now coming down. Luckily, because Maru has been investing gas elsewhere, there's not gonna be this massive difference in the upgrades like I thought. 2 Ravens for Maru does mean that he spent a little extra, but now the Vikings chasing down these Ravens, and a Raven goes down for Maru is a bit clumsy there. The Ravens should be able to get out as the Vikings try and chase it down, but the Vikings are also going to take some damage. Missile turret, okay, there we go, retargeted just at the end, and oh my, Byun losing, I mean, all 3 Ravens here is just not what you want.
Well, that's just a textbook defense there by Maru. Yeah, look at that battle report here coming up. The amount of opportunity is very, very good for Maru as he gets through. It's just a matter of trying to expound upon that, right? Making sure that the next step is always in order. Yeah, Byun was able to get some decent value out for his Ravens, but those are very high-cost gas units that he can't just afford to replace at this point. So it's now a path that we're going to see medevacs churning out. We'll have to see if that continued harassment it was going to be missed by the absence of Ravens now. But Maru is kind of in a position where this was not going to be a major issue. The Viking coverage is fine, and it's now going to be a little bit of just a stabilizing path here for Byun. He's getting his 3rd base. He's getting that armory down. That 1-1 is actually a little bit better timed than Maru, especially in terms of the infantry armor. So it's potentially an opportunity where things can equalize, but it's going to come down to some very deliberate timings. But still Maru with a comfortable supply lead so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question really comes down to, was losing those 3 Ravens, which can be so useful in the later game, worth denying the stim and getting marginal damage onto Maru's army? You kill a Viking and a Raven. Maru's not that worried. He only invested in the 2 Ravens, so that wasn't a massive investment for him in the first place, whereas going up to 3, you are delaying a lot of your other gas-intensive upgrades, but you snipe the stim, and that's just so massive. Byun, that was really a big timing that he was behind on. And now suddenly, that's not the case. He has his stim done before his opponent. He also has upgrades done. As you look at that, +1/+1 finishing for Byun. Maru still doesn't have that +1 armor. He did invest in that stim just that much earlier. And yeah, it was a good move by Byun, I think, in the end, with just the fact that it has now allowed him to feel comfortable in this game, taking these fights, taking these engagements. Sure, Maru still has that supply lead. He's up in workers. His army is slightly larger. And as the armor finishes up, those upgrades will even out. But for Byun, I mean, it just means that he's no longer as behind as he was after those early trades. And with the 2/2 upgrades started up, combat shields will be done for Byun before Maru. If Maru takes a fight too quickly, he's not going to have that extra health on the Marines. Now, without the +1 on the tanks, that doesn't end up mattering altogether that much. But it still is very big when you're just coming down to these very big Marine balls fighting each other. Like right now, there's no combat shields for Maru, and you just see his Marines melt that much faster.
Yeah, he's going to have to take a step back, despite landing a very nice anti-armor missile onto
Maru?
a good chunk of this army. I mean, okay, the tanks are just going to siege up here. 2 tanks immediately get picked off on the opening siege, but that is going to take some teeth out of this engagement here. Maru's going to have to back up. He can't afford to push into that right now.
Yeah, that's just, that was a bit sloppy there by Maru pushing those tanks forward. I don't think he had vision on the fact that Byun had swung over the 2 tanks that, or the 3 tanks that he had at his 4th base. And so ends up losing a few units, has to just back up. Really can't commit any further in, as Byun is going to be going up to 8 barracks now. And we're seeing a big divergence in the playstyles, as Maru, I mean, I said it before, he's the player who you look at when you think about Sky Terran, when you think about using these late game Terran units and really hitting these transitions. He's already on 2 starports. He's getting Corvid Reactor. He's going to be looking to go up into Viking Raven. As look at this, Maru just, I mean, he dodged vision so well. There was a scan that went down. He just barely stayed outside of it, as now stimming on in, but it looks like these Marines are going to go down, and Maru, this was not the move, as he just stimmed right into a planetary fortress.
Yeah, that was not the escape plan that he had in mind there. 37 Marines going down for just not even a handful of units there. Byun getting a very good opportunity, but now this is his opportunity. He has to find a way to capitalize on this. His 2/2 is just about to finish up for his infantry, so this is a great opportunity to try and strike. +1 tank weapons now just finishing for Maru, so he's going to have a bit more to work with on that defense, but it's definitely a flip-flop on the supply tab here. 120 to 96 on the army supply here for Byun. This is an advantage that he needs to try and capitalize on, but he's got to win the air battle first here to allow these Marines the opportunity to go on in. And the Viking count is starting to thin out here just a little bit. Byun is going to take a decent army and go up into the main as well and create as much chaos as he possibly can here. These units are trying to strike in multiple locations, and right now it's good damage happening in the main as well. 16 workers in total have gone down so far, and that was not nearly the same exchange on the amount of Marines he needed to get it done.
Yeah, no, that was such a good move from Byun. The medevacs into the main. It just forces a response from Maru, and meanwhile the tanks are still sieging up. 17 SCVs fall, and Byun is looking to swing this over to the 5th base, which Maru has already established. There is a tank line there. It's 3 tanks. That's not the most. And the one saving grace there for Maru was the fact that he had the air advantage. He still has 2 Ravens, has the 3 starport production. As Byun stimming on in, has most of his army here. The Marines going to try and take down the tanks. They're going to be able to do so as the tanks go down, and suddenly he has a siege position on the planetary fortress. Maru, not much he can do to challenge this. The planetary is just getting low. One of the tanks is interference matrix, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The repair is just 2. I mean, maybe it is actually. Maru stimming on in. Byun, his Marines weren't ready, as now the Marines get cleaned up. Byun trying to stim forward. The tanks are all that's left for Maru. The supplies come about even, but Byun, he still has this sieged up position. He's going to now swing a medevac over, try and find another drop. The Liberator has been produced here by Maru. It should be enough to help push back the tanks, and this game 1 already a slugfest.
Wow, I mean, what a hold there for Maru. He just did not blink in the face of Byun's adversity, and Byun not able to knock that down, so he does lose a sizable chunk of his army to try and make that base fall, and he does not get the payout in return. So now Maru has the opportunity to push back. It's ebb and flow here at this point. Byun going to get up into the main base once again to pick off more workers at that main mineral line and gas depot. Not going to get nearly as much efficiency this time around, only getting 2 workers for the trouble of the drop, but it does create at least a little opportunity for Maru to be distracted. He's going to have to step out of his rotation for even just a brief amount of time. A couple of seconds go a long way at this level of TVT.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, actually what's really big here is that Maru has not gotten +2 vehicle weapons, and for those that maybe don't know, the reason why that upgrade is so important is because with +2 vehicle weapons, when you're having these engagements, tanks can one-shot stim Marines with that upgrade, and so Byun, he has that advantage. Maru, it feels like, has forgotten it. He has the money right now to get it. Is working on his 3-3 for his bio, but is focused, I think, much more on the air. And there we go. It's finally going to come through. Maru realizing that he needs that upgrade. This drop from Byun, trying to be annoying, trying to get Maru to focus his attention elsewhere. Well, Byun has finally established his own 5th command center, so he's going to finally get back into that income lead. +3 vehicle weapons, though, starting up for Byun. It's just going to mean that his tanks, they do that much more damage against other tanks as well. And here's another drop. There's 2 missile turrets, but they're not going to be able to cover the entirety of the base. They still snipe one of the medevacs, though, as Byun once again going to get on top of the tanks. It's 2 factory production here for Maru. Yeah, second tank goes down. You're going to find a few more SCV kills, and I'm loving how Byun is playing this game out. He's just looking for constant damage. Byun's actually stimming on in. There are tanks here, but they're too spread out. The drop on top. The tanks are going to go down. The liftoff has to come through on the CC, and Byun, sure, he takes a slight supply drop, but now he's going to stim for it again. He sees that the tanks are in siege, and Byun is just going for it. As the tanks, looks like they're just barely going to go down. The Marines, folks, firing on a few of those Vikings in the sky. Another drop into the main base. 11 more SCVs fall, but Maru is still at 78 workers.
He just, despite all of these major losses, he just never seems to drop in that worker count. Oh, this is going to be an amazing opportunity to jump on top of these tanks. Enough Marines here should be able to clean up at least a few of them. A couple of tanks on the retreat to help defend, but the Marines should be able to at least protect the remainder going back. But Maru's not going to slow down here. He realizes he has an advantage here. Maru's effectively maxed out at this point, and it's his time to strike. Byun's been across the map in Maru's face, and now Maru decides it's my turn. It's my turn to put on the aggression here. His 3-3 is done. He is feeling the effects of his +2 vehicle weapons not quite being in position, but Byun's going to have an opportunity here. I mean, his +3 vehicle weapons, a possible opportunity, but this is just going to be a stim forward to get on top of the tanks. Byun has nowhere to go with these Marines. He just can't protect.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just the Ravens here. Maru has been consistently producing out of one starport. He's been producing Ravens throughout all this, and that's why you see, I mean, a massive gas bank difference. Byun has so much gas that he's readily able to use, but he doesn't have enough starports to actually invest in that. Maru, meanwhile, has been consistently building those Ravens up, keeping that gas count low. 3 more command centers now on the way as Byun does finally get himself back into a supply lead, mostly in that worker count, as it's 83 to 77 workers. As the drop semantics are going to go on, Maru does manage to force Byun back. His nice positioning here, going to actually catch out a few tanks that were left behind by Maru. As well, actually, never mind. The tanks are pretty good. Here we go. Byun stimming on in. Has to back on up to his only singular tank, and that can just easily be killed by Maru. It's Byun forced back. Another drop heading out, though, is going to try and clean up all these units that are left in the center of the map by Maru. And Maru, he's going to look to push down this 5th base. There's just not a lot here for Byun. I mean, the planetary is completely exposed. There's no tanks. And that means that base is finally going to go down after so much back and forth. Actually, a base for both players. Byun, a triple drop here, is going to find that command center that was looking to take the 6th base for Maru. And these Marines in the back of the mineral line kill off another 4 SCVs. Into the main goes Byun. The medevac stays alive. The Marines unload. One of the medevacs still needs to actually unload for Byun here. is finally going to get that one out. The 3 medevacs doing the best they can to heal this all up. Tanks are going to get sniped. Now they need to back up, though. Drop down into the other base, but the reinforcements are here for Maru, who's moving his main army back. No, he's actually going to go for that 6th base that Byun established. The tanks are exposed, but there's nothing there to punish him. Byun, he's actually walking his units to the middle of the map.
This is just an incredible back and forth here. It's going to be stemmed forward here by Byun into that base location, trying to pinch off these reinforcements coming to put some pressure on the bottom side of the map, and that's going to have to be a double lift off into the main base here. Maru doesn't have anything to really contest these tanks in the bottom right-hand corner, though, so that's going to be pressure that is left unchecked for right now, but Byun is so focused on putting pressure here at that main base. The opportunity to get on top of the production is very, very valuable, and Byun sees the opportunity to try and keep that pressure on, but these air units having to get in touch with these tanks to shut things down. It's just a ton of very delicate positioning here.
Yeah, there's just so many Ravens, and it was a bit mistimed for Maru. The interference matrix go down, but every single tank is disabled. How are you supposed to fight this as Byun? As the spellcasting comes out, these tanks are eventually, I mean, they should eventually fall as the siege forward comes through. There we go. Tank shots are going to go off. But, man, Maru using the spellcasting to the best of his ability. As there we go. Saves that tank, just picks it up, gets it within range to make sure that he doesn't lose it. But you're just seeing the difference that there is when you have this double Raven production for so long. As this is adorable. You
can't touch me. You can't touch me. Mom, he's touching me. He's inside my tank range.
Oh my! I think for Byun, all in all, these trades actually end up very good. He reestablished that 6th command center on the left side of the map, right above his main, but also the command center in the bottom right. It didn't die. It was lifted up. It's now been replanted. That's very big news now for Byun, as his economy is going to be really kicking into gear. But you have to find a way to answer these Ravens, and Byun is just not committing to an air army. I mean, Liberators. What use are Liberators if you just don't have Vikings? And Maru can just. He can interference matrix them, he can target fire them down, as 12 SCVs do end up falling. Not entirely sure to what, but Byun once again dropping into the main, disables on the medevacs because he can't unload all of his Marines. And Maru is just abusing these Ravens. He has a 2k mineral bank right now. He just hasn't been losing units. He's been trading so efficiently because Byun hasn't had like half of his army in these fights.
Yeah, this has been just a growing army of Ravens here, and Byun has not had an opportunity to really respond. You're absolutely right. Now, this is a good stem forward here to pick off some of these stray tanks, but once again, this is the opportunity that he has to try and find here. Getting on top of this base is going to be crucial. That's going to force Maru to come respond to it, but Byun has just been less efficient on all of these different engagements, and the supplies are now starting to show it here. It's 150 supply and plummeting here. This is jump into the main base is not going to have nearly enough teeth because these medevacs are just so wounded.
Yeah, they have to unload all the Marines. Target fire tries to come through from Byun, but his supply is dropping. And even though he has the income advantage, it just feels like Maru was maxed out for so long. He was trading so efficiently for so long. He wasn't having to rebuild units. And that's where we see a lot of these differences come in. That's where we've seen Maru take the supply lead. Now up 40 supply is going to finally kill this orbital command center in the bottom right side of the map, but that does give Byun time to mine up on his other bases. Mind you, he still has the top left, which he's started to expand into. This Liberator has been denying mining at 64 workers for each player as this base is finally going to go down. But it's the Raven difference, Rushi. It's just been the Ravens. They've been so efficient. They've allowed Maru to just find better trades consistently. And Byun, he just doesn't have an answer.
No, and we take a look at the income advantage. It is always pushing towards Byun's opportunity, but when you are as efficient as you are with those Ravens, you don't need the money. Okay, we're gonna get a quick pause here at the 24-minute mark, but now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we got to go back into a new engagement, but it does look like we are going to jump back in to the game here. The resume button has been clicked. We are getting back in, and it's more of this story right here. The Ravens, the Raven count incredibly strong. Can we get it? Can we get a units tab here at maybe at the end of this fight? This is going to be a nice push forward here into Byun's base. I mean, Maru's just going to have an opportunity to just shove forward. Sometimes that happens when you do get done with a longer break, but Byun is going to have the opportunity here. This planetary not quite done just yet. It's only now going to be able to contribute to the fight, but that's not going to be enough. All of those units able to be picked off. That's going to force Maru to come across, and it's a base trade on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, Byun, he says he wants to force the base trade, and I think it's a good move so far. He actually gets the planetary fortress. Again, he's keeping Maru's base count low, but he loses his own 5th base. Still, though, the really big thing for Byun here is he's had this base in the top left triangle that's been alive for so long, that's been mining for so long. As Byun, he's looking to get on top of the tanks. Looks like he's going to be able to focus fire one. No, just doesn't have enough Marines. And now it's 180 supply to 126. Byun has been trying his heart out this game to out-micro the pure efficiency of the unit composition that Maru has, but it just does not feel like it's enough. I mean, the reason why that tank doesn't die, Maru has +3 ship and vehicle plating behind all of this. And those tanks, that is a massive upgrade for them. They just don't die. The Marines, they have such a hard time focusing them down now, especially in smaller numbers. And it just feels like Maru, every advantage in his hands, even though, you know, his economy has been knocked down time and time again. He has a base up that's mining, that is fully saturated, and it gets so hard here for Byun to try and hold on, especially with the imminent threat of the Ravens from the sky.
And chip weapons +1 are being completed here for Maru. This army is just going to get stronger and stronger, and Byun just does not have the resources anymore. A giant anti-armor missile coating the majority of that army. 5 workers going down, 6 and climbing. Byun is slowly slipping towards the double-digit supply count, and I just thinking that Maru has gotten the dagger through Byun's torso, and now he's just pushing forward to finish it off.
I mean, it's a slow march. It's an interference matrix on 1 or 2 tanks. The tank line for Maru moves forward. GG is going to be called, as it's Byun having to tap out of game number 1, a commanding late game showing from Maru.
It is the man himself, currently down 0-1 in this best of 5 for Shopify Rebellion. This is Byun.
And in the top right, ladies and gentlemen, you know him, you love him. He is the best Terran of all time. His name is Maru. The sweatshirt came off, Rushi.
Ooh, it's time. He's activated.
He knows.
Oh my gosh, look at all those GSL wings. Oh, look at the flex. Amazing. I gotta give him props for that. You know, that's a huge accomplishment. I'd show that accomplishment off too if given the opportunity. Ooh. So no disrespect there.
This is interesting. Double racks from Maru. This is in the main base though with 1 gas. It will be Reapers. It's not going to be very committed to the Reapers, but it will still be those Reapers with the 2nd gas just being a little bit later. Byun going for a more standard opening. As I said, this is a map. It is a short-ish rush distance considering the size of Tropical Sacrifice. I mean, you're looking at a map that has 8 bases on each side of it. That is quite large. I mean, if you're looking like something like Waterfall, which is, I think, probably, you know, the next smallest, only has 6 bases. And so, considering the size of this map, the rush distance is quite small. Reapers and Hellions can get across the map quite quickly. Now, for Byun, this build matchup ends up working out quite well. It's double Reaper production, but you're going to have those faster Hellions because you did go for the double gas. You're going to have your access to your early game units, and so I don't actually see Maru getting a lot of damage done with these Reapers unless there is some massive micro mistake.
I think there's a massive mistake on the opening onset of this from Byun. I mean, he's not put any scout out onto the map, so he is going to discover this this opening by Maru much later than he otherwise might need to, especially if he's now going to have to defend the low ground expand on top of it, and that could be a turning point here for this defense. I mean, being able to hold up on your main ramp with those Hellions especially, you know what, you can probably make that work. But all of a sudden, you now have to expand down to the low ground. You have to be able to defend your worker that is trying to get that second base. You really don't want to cancel it, especially after starting it at this point. It is going to be a 3-1 at this point, but now both players getting those double Reaper production going. However, it is going to be the start of the engagement here, and Byun has been able to figure this out. He now needs to try and engage at this ramp, hold that choke as much as he possibly can. That's his best defensive advantage. But now Maru realizes, hey, there's an opportunity here for me to capitalize on your exposed worker down in the natural. So that is going to delay the natural base so far, will give Maru an opportunity to try and catch up with his own. But Maru is able to keep the pressure on here. Those Reapers of him going to have a small number advantage here, and he's got to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah. I mean, the Hellions, though, do throw some fuzz into that math, as we're looking at a big difference here in the starport timing is really what we're going to see, is that Hellion gets really low. This is a bit of a mistake from Maru. He pushes the Hellion up too quickly, and now, I mean, Byun's just going to take such a better trade. And that's the issue. If you're just off a little bit on that time, you see Maru there realizes, yeah, that was not the move. He's pushing into a player who's completely ready for this. His Hellion goes down first because he moves it in too quick. And now suddenly Byun with that supply advantage, and this is against, I mean, it's 3 Hellions versus 1 right now. The Reaper count is in the advantage for Maru, which of course does mean, hey, you can actually take a pretty good trade here. The Reaper DPS, it's nothing to scoff at, as that Hellion shot, oh, so good at lining it up there for Maru, as this Reaper is going to chase down the last one of Maru. Byun going to get the full scout on the fact that it's, I mean, a starport building with no add-on, knows that it's going to be that medevac, and it's actually a Banshee here for Byun.
Yeah, that ended up being a pretty decent exchange here for Byun, getting that full scout on that main base, seeing exactly at least the order of the buildings and where they're at in their production cycle. Now Byun does have the opportunity to strike at the heart of Maru once again. Having that Banshee out can be critical here, especially since none of these units quite shoot up at this point. There's a Cyclone on the way, so that won't last forever, but the Hellions and the Reapers now going to try and find some additional damage across the map. It's going to be a little bit of a back and forth here, just like we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, faster command center for Maru, but it's not by that much. And I think really the big difference that we're going to see here is the tank timing. I mean, Maru already having almost his first tank done, or Byun having his first tank almost done before Maru even starts his tank production, and Raven as well as this Cyclone. If Byun is, yeah, I mean, doesn't even need to respond. Maru just respecting the fact that unit is there and that his opponent can snipe down his medevac, and so doesn't want to risk that. But for Byun, again, in this game, we're seeing a pretty big difference in the Raven time, or in the stim pack timing, and this is mostly because Byun has opted to go into that Raven. When you get the Raven, it will slow down your upgrades by, I mean, for a little while, because you're investing 200 gas into it, a second Raven also on the way. It just means that Byun, he's not really going to have the freedom to go for upgrades for like Stim and 1-1, while he's also investing his minerals into additional barracks. Meanwhile, someone like Maru, of course, no Ravens here, has Stim already on the way. He's been investing money now into double medevac production and tanks, and his engineering bays are done. Now we'll see if he does try and get those super early upgrades, or if he just sits on them for a little while and builds up his army first.
Well, delaying that third base once again here for Byun is really important. Catches the opportunity to really close the gap. I mean, you talked about how it wasn't that close, or it wasn't that far apart to begin with, but now it's even better here as Byun steps ahead, is able to get his orbital command that much quicker than Maru, and every little victory, it counts. I mean, we saw at the 25-minute mark of the last game, all of the little victories that Maru was able to take advantage of, and how it just snowballs. It's the tiny little the shake of snow before the avalanche eventually just overwhelms your opponent, and that can add up in very big ways. So small wins here for Byun, very, very good, but needs to be able to find a way to stem the tide of this push. This is going to be a big drop here. One Cyclone's not going to be enough to deal with the 3 medevacs here of Maru as he's going to be able to get into the main base. That's going to be a lot of exposed workers here. One tank will deal a little bit of damage, but it doesn't soften up nearly enough. Other units are going to have to respond here. Byun across the map with that Banshee as well. Gets a few more workers, but is he going to be able to shut down this push? It looks like, yes, Byun should be able to shove Maru off, for at least for now.
Yeah, no, super well done, Byun. Using those Ravens to the most as he puts down the auto turrets, is able to clean up a lot of the Marines, and then even without stim, he's able to walk forward and knock down the tank. And the 1-1 timing difference is not actually going to be that wide. While Maru had those super early engineering bays, did not start the upgrades until later on. As I like this here from Maru, is just going to be able to, I think, knock down the tank. It might just commit to it. Yeah, last shot doesn't lose the Cyclone as well. That's
1 health. 1.
This is just, you know, it's just Maru things. He says, yeah, that's going to survive. Don't worry about it. I calculated that. But 60 workers for both players. This game is incredibly even at this point as the upgrades are going to start to finish up. Combat shields on the way for Byun. +1/+1 will now finish. At just about the same time, essentially, as Maru's, since there was no immediate aggression. The armory, there is a fairly large difference there, but Maru does not quite have the gas to get his 2-2, so I don't imagine that's going to result in an insane timing where suddenly Maru has 2-2 and Byun doesn't, as this Marine drop is actually really nice. There's no tanks back at home, and so Maru has to walk back all of these units that he was trying to get aggressive with it. Now, I mean, Byun can just go up into the main, and he's going to force a massive response out of Maru, and look at this, Byun! Jumps on top of the medevacs. Maru got a little bit too hasty to try and move everything up into the main. 3 medevacs go down, and it's a massive move by Byun.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great catch here, trying to get the reinforcements on the way back. He's going to grab some more tanks. Okay, he does now finally lose the medevac full of units, but that was a very nice, opportune moment here for him. He kills 6 workers. He pulls the entire army back, and I think that might be the more important part.
And keep in mind, I mean, Byun, he still has this Raven available. Maru has no such unit. He just skipped that entirely because of his opening, went into tanks, but he's even down in tanks now and Vikings. So Byun, if he decides to push, he has a more technical army that can absolutely fight better, as 2-2 has been started up for Maru. I don't know if we're seeing that for Byun just yet, because we're not getting a shot of the production tab. But there's a lot of advantages here for Byun. He's even placing his 4th command center on location. He's that confident. Yeah, there we go. Upgrades also coming through for Byun, the +1 for the vehicle weapons, even faster than Maru's. And this is, I mean, this is a game that's looking so much better than that first one. This is a game where Maru is actually behind. Byun has these advantages, and he's been really making use of them. As tank's getting caught out. Byun a little bit sloppy, but anti-armor missile is going to weaken up a lot of these Marines as the tanks just try and fight it straight up. The Vikings are focused down by Maru, but he's losing so much at home as 17, 18 SCVs are going to fall. Barracks are delayed, and now the upgrades are going to be the target. And if you can snipe these 2-2 upgrades, there's going to be a massive window where Byun has 2-2, Maru doesn't. And it's going to be also a Byun who has a better economy and a Byun who has more units, and this is just such a good move from Byun.
Wow, I mean, capitalizing on the chaos in the center of the map, getting 2-2 upgrades canceled, that is incredible value here for the Korean Terran in blue. And now he's going to be able to shove off the 4th base as well, getting a nice lockdown on that tank. So now the tank doesn't even provide the cover that it needs to. Byun able to take those reinforcements, try and reassemble himself. He's in a position where he can start pushing forward and really putting pressure on that natural base. Forcing Maru to take that 4th base up at the 12 o'clock position on the map is really crucial. That puts all of his units further away from the delicate production that he has to keep a grip on.
Yeah, Maru's going to be able to catch out a small group of Marines, but not before medevac is sniped. Byun right now setting up 20 supply, and it's just feel like he's in such a good position right now. As now, command center going to go down for Maru. And Byun, I mean, yeah, it's 2-2 versus 1-1. This is the big difference that we were talking about. These Marines, they're going to trade so much better as Byun just stims on in. More SCVs going down. These are losses that Maru cannot afford as 13 SCVs fall. Medevac is able to get out a small chunk of those Marines, but man, Maru's down to 60 workers to the 80 of Byun. I mean, it's a miracle that Byun has kept his worker count up, or Maru's kept his working count up this high. This just shows how good his macro is. And here we are. That can come through. Byun just stimming on in. I mean, he just has better Marines. He's just going to stim on top of everything. The tanks go down. The SCV line falls, and it felt like, oh, Maru should have units here, but no, his units are actually all by the natural because Byun forced him to move in that direction. Initially, that's just going to be it. GG. Maru picks up a game and in very, very good fashion.
It's the Blue Terran from the Shopify Rebellion. This is Byun.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, ladies and gentlemen, from Onside Gaming, he is the winningest Terran. His name is Maru.
I see, you got that perfect timing. I mean, it was like, oh, real good.
I've been practicing. I had yesterday to practice, so
Consider
myself lucky.
Please, please, he's doing the thing. He's putting down the second barracks.
Rushi, he's doing the Maru.
He's doing the thing. Mars decided, all right, you got your one win. Okay, I guess I can end this series quickly now. Byun has an opportunity to scout this. This isn't too terribly far, and I think actually that second barracks might just be close enough to the ledge if he were to walk over and drop a supply depot or even just run an SCV there. It might just be close. Oh, and I think he might have an opportunity to scout it. Hopefully we can get some. Oh, wait. No.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. That's a Byun. That's a Byun supply depot.
He's
gonna be able to see it. So that's gonna be a great
God.
scout here. At least enough information to be able to start responding to this. But how do you respond in this case? I mean, some of it's gonna be positioning. Immediately gonna throw down the factory. He's not responding to this, Titan.
I mean, I think you just pull the workers as soon as that Reaper's out. I mean, mind you, Maru, I don't think he knows that this is scouted. But Maru, he has to be good enough to know that this is close enough to the ledge for Byun to see this. And yeah, the first Reaper is going to go up immediately. So I think Maru realized that the proxy was a bit close. And so he sends the first Reaper up. Because usually if this is not scouted, you wait for 2 Reapers because that's where you're going to have a big advantage. But Maru starting it off early. This 2 racks, it is the trademark play here for him. But look at it. The SCVs have already been pulled. They are staying right by the ramp here. Maru, he needs to focus fire down this Reaper, but the Marine is already here, and that means that the Reaper is going to go down for Maru. Doesn't find the last shot. And this is disastrous for Maru. I mean, if he at least found that Reaper, then maybe he could start to, you know, the Marines, they can't micro as well, then he could start to try and push it, but with that Reaper still alive, he's just going to lift off after 4 Reapers, and he's going to have to scrap this plan, move on to the next stage of the game. And man, you know, Rushi, if Maru is behind, the game is even, and that means that Byun has a chance.
I mean, this was a masterful defense here. The lack of an overall response, I mean, it was perfect. He felt like he had the positioning and the knowledge of what he needed to hold this down, and with a little bit of luck, a little bit of positioning, able to walk away with a stronger position here. So Byun now up a significant amount of resources here, as he will be able to start maneuvering into his tech a little bit faster. He has those double tech labs going up, so those barracks are going to be able to start working on bio upgrades, and a possibility to get even just a Banshee across the map as well. That could be really impactful here for the Blue Terran.
Absolutely is. I mean, right now, Maru is really trying hard to snipe this supply deep, and I think he might be able to just get it. The Reapers have just enough range that's hard for Byun to stop that. So you get a supply depot, and that's just about the only win here for Maru is the fact that he gets that. He has a faster command center, I guess, is the other good part of this, and he is going to scout out the fact that Byun is producing off Attack Lab Starport. So we'll clue him in. It's either a Raven or a Banshee. Either way, Maru is going into Cyclones. He's also getting Magfield Accelerator. Rushi, does Maru go into Mech off of a failed Proxy 2 racks?
I mean, I don't see a reason why not here. I mean, he's got an opportunity to catch his opponent while he's sleeping, and he might be feeling really good about this hold and like, yeah, I should be able to just steamroll this. It only would take one poor pushback here from Byun for Maru to really take advantage of the situation. I mean, he's got his second base already completed here. Byun's is only just about 3/4 of the way done. It's very possible that with a good defensive hold here by Maru, that just immediately puts him back into position. And Magfield Accelerator is absolutely an equalizer here if he wants to move this towards mech. I think this is a great idea here by Maru.
Yeah, I really like it. It's been so long since we've seen any sort of mech play in TVT. But if there's ever a game to pull it out, it feels like this would be it. As Cyclones are here, they're going to be able to knock down this Reaper. 2 Cyclones also available for Byun, though. Good pickup there to break the lock on, and that is, of course, the advantage that this medevac is going to allow you. But now look at this. Magfield Accelerator is done. Maru, he wants to push this advantage. He's going to get the first Cyclone. Should be able to snipe the second one here from Byun as... Oh, Maru. He's been so good with these pickups and with these escapes. Keeps that Cyclone alive and finds a very good trade off the back of it. And now Byun just has to kind of respect this. And that is the power that the Magfield Accelerator Cyclones give you, is the fact that it's really hard to fight these in low unit counts because they can just target them down. The DPS is absolutely insane. And so there's really not a lot that Byun can do to challenge it until he has, I mean, stim done until he has a larger bio ball. But he's actually going to Cloaked Banshee.
Now, 5 workers did end up falling from Maru, so that did not come without cost for him. I think that was the Banshee putting in some work there, would be my guess. But Raven's going to come for Byun. Man, Byun realized how good Ravens are from game number 1. Oh, but those are going to be intercepted almost immediately. So the Vikings should be able to pick this off before it has a chance to do any real tangible damage. It does pick up a worker, so I mean, better that than nothing. But Byun needs more opportunities to actually slow down Maru. These are just small distractions that don't take away from the bigger goal here, that Maru is going to continue putting pressure here. That third base was spotted by Maru, so Byun's not going to be able to just float that down for free. Magfield Accelerator Cyclone's going to start putting in some work.
Yeah, and it is just the full mech here from Maru. Vikings and Liberators all on the way. Maru's going to try and set up a tank. That tank was just barely in range. A good job by Byun to pull it back. And this is just, I mean, as we've said, this is just such a good build choice from Maru, recognizing that, hey, there might be a way for me to actually turn this into something good. I don't think that Byun is going to expect me to go for mech, and so I can use these units for my advantage. But look at this, Banshee backstab into the mineral line. There's nothing at home here for Maru. Scans are being used at the front. That means that cloak is now going to come in massive, because there's just nothing that Byun is going to be able to do to find this Banshee after it cloaks.
This is a very, very good amount of damage here for Byun, but he's got to be able to have a response opposite here. And then the response is there. Cloak Banshee at the front of the base is going to be able to push this army back and away. The response is important, and it was present. 9 workers killed off for Byun. I believe the Banshee did get killed back at home, so Maru able to defend. But look at the disadvantage here that Maru's having to deal with. He's a little less efficient with some of his units. He's got killed off more gas units of Byun, but he's struggling to maintain the economic advantage. And now third base going to be coming out for Byun. This is just going to be more opportunity for Byun to take off even further.
Yeah, this is just so good from Byun. I mean, the fact that he was able to get those Cloak Banshees and find value out of them is massive, and it completely shuts down what Maru was trying to do. It means that Byun is now, I mean, up in supplies and just trying to look to... Listen, Maru might be behind, but he's not going to stop microing his heart out. As more Cloak Banshees trying to find value, the missile turret is there. 5 more SCVs go down, so Byun, with a 10-worker lead with his third base already on location, is going into bio. And look at this, Maru. He's actually switching into bio. I mean, he didn't commit to a super high factory count. He didn't really add on any additional factories. And so he says, no, I'm just going to go back into bio. But I have to feel like that, I don't know, it just means that he's going to be behind on timings in comparison to someone like Byun, who this has been the plan from the start. I'm not sure about this for Maru. I'm very worried for him right now.
I mean, especially given all of the units out on the map. I mean, Maru needs time to make that transition happen. And with that transition, that just means that there's going to be less on the defense here. Vikings might be able to buy a little bit of time here, and it does. Byun's army does have to come back to deal with this, and picking off a tank, maybe in exchange for a Viking. Not a terrible exchange here for Maru when the time factor is the most valuable component. He needs to keep Byun on the opposite side of the map. That's going to give him some opportunity to get some Marines out, reposition his units to protect that third base location. But it's going to be a matter of whether or not this was enough. I think Maru now finally has to deal with this army as it comes across the map. Byun scans forward. He sees the positioning of these units and he realizes, wait a minute, you don't have nearly as much as I do at this point. So now using that mobility to his advantage, does have those medevacs filling up with Marines. Maru's going to have a difficult time defending in multiple locations, especially as the army counts continue to grow even vastly further apart.
Smoke Banshee does need to get out of range of that scan, but it's going to knock down the first tank, and there we go, scan expires. Maru did see those medevacs with just the edge of the sensor tower as it came up, and so was able to deny Byun from getting to the main, but now, I mean, Byun's just going to push this. He has, I mean, it's a 2 health Banshee, but adds cloak. And so he's just going to continue to cause Maru to have to use scans, and it just makes it so annoying for Maru for that hold. Byun, though, is eventually going to back up. He says, listen, you're only on 3 bases. I'm already taking my 4th command center. I have 2-2 on the way. And Maru, that 2-2 is so late for him. His armory is just now finishing, and even then, he still doesn't have the gas for it. As this situation is just, I mean, it feels like it's getting worse and worse, and Byun, he's being smart. He's not committing into a fight that he knows that he can't win entirely, because if he does that, then there's a chance for Maru to get back into the game. And how many times have we seen players be up in supply against Maru, to be ahead of him, and they try and finish off the game prematurely, they try and kill him, and it just leads to Maru getting back in, finding an advantage, and suddenly winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give credit to Maru here. He's done as much as he can to buy himself the time necessary to make this transition happen. And he's done it with a minimal amount of units as well. Those Cyclones paying for themselves in dividends as well, because the drop, not able to get into the main base. It was scouted initially and then threatened with the lock-on from the Cyclones. Then all of a sudden it was, okay, I'm just going to position Cyclones into that main base to keep you from being able to drop. And you're not going to be able to benefit from the mobility that your army currently offers. And all this time is just being used to get Maru through that transition. Yes, his upgrades are behind, but as long as he's the defending player, he can possibly take advantage of the opportunity to use better positioning, use those tanks to his advantage that he's already got in pretty sizable supply. And while Byun is not out of this just yet, I mean, he's got a very sizable army advantage here. He can still push in and really deal a lot of damage. Maru's given himself every possible opportunity to stay alive.
Yeah, I think what's really crazy is that these last 2 games, because Maru has been in such strange... Oh my god, the command center goes down. That is massive. As Byun just continuing to push his advantage, now fighting at the top of the ramp. He doesn't have 2-2 just yet, though, so it's a hard fight to take. But the crazy part is, Byun, because Maru has been putting himself in such awkward positions because he's been trying to get these leads early on, and it hasn't been working. You know, Maru hasn't had the ability, like in Game 1, to get into Ravens, to get into this highly technical army that he's so dominant with. And you can tell how much harder it is for Maru to win this game when he doesn't have those spellcasters at his disposal that he can really use and abuse against his opponent. And now when it's just a straight-up fight, I mean, Byun, he just has so much more now. 2-2 is going to be done. Doesn't want to take the fight, though, just doesn't have the numbers in that position. The Liberator's out here for Maru. Has managed to get a better air army up, and so that means that he's going to stop Byun from pushing as aggressively. As scan needs to come down here from Byun, is going to do so, but the tanks are actually just out of range.
Yeah, this is a very, very developing situation here for Byun. Byun is at the top of his supply cap once again, has his opponent spread a little bit wider than maybe Maru would like to be, but Maru's doing a wonderful job of defending on both fronts. One of these opportunities Byun has to be able to capitalize on. A good scan forward here by Maru, sees this army advancing. He's able to get those tanks back in the back ranks, able to move that base forward towards the 4th base location as well. I guess it's backwards at this point, but very, very good opportune moments for Maru as, once again, slowly but surely equalizing out the supply count. The worker counts are almost dead even. The base count is now evening up as well. Maru is on the verge of being able to match Byun blow for blow on this army. He is going to get +3 a little bit faster on the bio side as well, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that if Maru is able to drag this game out even further. The army count, despite a very unique opening here comparatively, is slowly starting to devolve into that normal TVT.
Yeah, we saw that. There was no chance that he was going to go for that drop, but Byun, I mean, he's just been trying to delay this 4th base as long as possible, goes forward, sends the Liberator, and that means that his tanks are going to be able to stay in this location and continue to deny this base. Maru, though, he's going to commit to the fight, and he does have even upgrades. Byun not responding in time, and that means that he's just going to get cleaned up. And Maru finally finds the fight he's been looking for. He cleans up the Marines and pushes Byun out of that position. I think the big story of this game, though, is going to be this armor upgrade. Oh my god, these medevacs, they're playing such a risky game. I mean, there's just so much here you can't commit in, as Maru has set up a just iron defense on these 4 bases. Byun needs to try and continue to push where his advantages are, and right now that is in the fact that he had an economic advantage for so long, so he's adding on additional command centers. But I really want to see Byun add down additional spellcasters. Or additional starports even to get the Ravens. I know it's not a unit that Byun likes to use, and it's a very micro-intensive unit, which, you know, especially in the late game where it's already so taxing, can be so difficult to do. But it really does feel like Byun is going to need something on top of all this. And maybe, hey, maybe this Viking count will do it. 11 Vikings to 4. That's going to make it very hard for Maru to use these Liberators.
Oh, +3 just finished up here for those Marines. This is going to be a very big moment here. These Marines are just going to absolutely shred through Byun here. +3/+2 to the +2/+2 of Byun. And where Byun has spent most of this game pulling Maru apart and making him attack on multiple fronts, just grabs the tank. A nice little timing here.
God,
it's going to be a big response here by Byun in the middle of the map, but those upgrades slowly being felt here. We now have +3 done for Byun, so these bio units are going to be similar across the board once again. But man, this has just been a very strong comeback here by Maru, now maintaining a supply advantage here over his opponent.
And you just see how hard it is to close out a game against Maru. It doesn't matter if you're 20 supply up. He does not die. He does not fall. And this +2 vehicle weapons timing is massive here for Maru. He's going to have those +2 tanks ages before Byun even has it on his radar to go for that upgrade. These Liberators, they're now being used for harassment because Maru realized that, you know, he just did not have the air army. He did not have the air advantages, so is now using them to snipe off tanks, and that's very worthwhile, as this Widow Mine is annoying. Byun has to use a scan just to clean that up. The +3 armor is going to come through for Byun for his infantry far before Maru's, but with the +2 for the tanks, I don't know if that +3 is really going to matter as much. As here we go, Maru's committing on up. I don't know if you commit up this ramp, Maru. There's so many tanks here. The air army is absolutely massive for Byun, and Maru makes a massive blunder.
He threw away just a large amount of units. I think this was one of his opportunities to try and capitalize on the fact that that +2 vehicle weapons was about to finish, but it's not going to matter if you don't have any vehicles to actually use those weapons, Titan. It's going to be a good retreat here for Maru. He will have some defenses to fall back to, but now Byun has that overall advantage. He's got +3 infantry armor. It's going to be a long time before Maru is going to be able to capitalize on his. So now Maru once again has to play defense. He has to stay pushed back, and this air army is just incredibly oppressive that Maru's going to have to respect it time and time again. He's going to have to lose a base over it.
And you just see how strong Liberators are once you have that Viking advantage, once you've won that air battle. Here we go, Byun trying to stim on in on top of these unsieged tanks. He's going to be able to do so. Needs to pull back, though, to the safety of his siege units. As Liberator there at the 5th base for Byun is going to start to find some damage, but Byun, he knows he has an advantage. He's trying to push Maru back. The tanks are so low, but he can't commit in just yet. I think he just takes the base here and is absolutely happy with that trade as Liberator goes down. Tanks anchoring this position. And man, this game is absolutely wild, as Waterfall, surprisingly, I think giving us the closest game that we've had in the late game, in the macro. As this tank position here, Byun needs to siege on up. Again, though, it's the +2 tanks for his opponent. It makes it so much harder for him to win. You see there, with one tank shot, he's not able to kill the Marines, and it just means that the 3-3 for Maru matters so much more because those Marines are firing for longer. They're getting more DPS out. Finally, this base is going to fall. Byun, he is up a command center. Doesn't have it saturated just yet, though. The tanks a little bit out of position. Nothing here to really support them. They're going to get rid of the Marines, though, as Maru does not have the backbone to really support this push anymore. The tank line, yes, it gets trimmed, but I don't think that Maru can continue to push this.
No, I mean, he does have his +3 infantry armor now, so that's an important upgrade to equalize out to these bioforces. Maru now does have the sole advantage here. +2 vehicle weapons, very, very important. It hasn't even started for Byun, so not sure if or when we are going to see that. The unit production is going to be incredibly important here. Byun still has an advantage on that army count, 96 to 84, and he does not want to give that up. Not at this point. He's fought too hard. He has fought way too hard in this 20-minute game, and he does not want to let that slip, as he does have to play some good defense. But the base count definitely in Byun's favor at this point, as Byun has that top left base, now securing that bottom right corner.
Oh my god, Byun,
well.
he's stimming on in!
This is giant stim forward here with this army, but there's a lot of siege units still available. That +2 armor or vehicle weapons being felt here.
I mean, but still, you're just seeing the air advantage. It plays such a massive role here. The Liberators find so much value. Sure, it's not the most efficient trade from Byun, but he's trimming down the tanks, he's trimming down Marines, and those are the only units that Maru has available right now. Maru's economy is really, it's not that good. There's 2.5 bases here for Maru. He's had to float his main and natural base command centers out just to expand. Meanwhile, Byun has his 5th up, this 6th has been denied for a while, but is finally going to continue to mine as Maru is trying to push here, but Byun can't step forward to that. Tanks are already sieged. Byun, it does feel like, needs to continue to push this air advantage. That is where he has found the most success. That is where he has been able to really, pull ahead in these games, but now the Viking count not really there. Needs to replenish them because the Liberators and the Vikings are just pushing these tanks back. Byun needs to commit forward here. He's going to be able to snipe off the Liberator, and now he can just sit back, really be happy with the tank position.
Oh, this is a very dangerous corner for Byun to live in right now. Maru slowly backing Byun into this base. It's going to be very difficult for him to try and fight his way out. He does have a decent Viking count here and is now going to equalize that air pressure, which is very, very important. Byun needs a little bit of breathing room. He can't allow Maru to just push everything back in. Byun is going to stim into that lower right-hand corner base, as the army of Maru is just going to run right on in as well. So this is going to be another exchange of units and workers, but right now, Byun with the better engagement here. 14 workers and the base gets killed off, and Byun's going to continue moving forward.
Yeah, Byun just trying to kind of move around Maru's units. He's doing a great job of it. The Marine count is so low, so Byun continuing to take fights there. But we really, Byun, I feel like we need to see him eventually start to, he's going to need to, nice step on the tank, need to rebuild this air army count. Maru is continuing to try and push it as the army supplies are almost dead even. Maru 9 ahead. Byun worker lead, and it's resulted in a slight income advantage in the gas, but actually not in the minerals. And Byun has so much gas. I feel like Ravens being added in here would be great. Again, just has not been a unit that Byun is willing to go into and to use. As this game is, it's dead even. We've seen the supply lead fluctuate so many times throughout the course of this. These Liberators continuing to get sniped away by the Vikings, as this 5th base is now going to be under pressure here for Byun. He's going to have to siege up. He's going to have to get in position. The tank siege is good, and he has enough of a line that you can't really push forward too far. But Maru, there is a spot here where he's going to be able to get those shots onto the command center, and that means that this base, I think, is going to be forfeit. You can't really push into this without Liberators for Byun. He realizes that. He starts producing them, but it's not until the command center goes down.
Oh, this is just back and forth damage here. Picking off some sensor towers is going to be important, especially if Byun wants to continue putting pressure on that lower right-hand corner. But 12 additional workers, anytime Byun is able to jump in and take a dent at Maru's economy, and Maru strikes back on the opposite side of the map. So now, once again, Byun is now left trying to get his base on the top left secured once again. He is down workers 64 to 50, and I just cannot believe, given where Maru was at the beginning of this game, I'm just so shocked at how well he's been able to navigate himself into the 25-minute mark.
I mean, this is what Maru does. Even if he's behind, he is never out. He's going to snipe the command center, and this has been such a taxing game for both players, and it feels like Maru is the one who's going to come out ahead as the drop there onto the tank's not going to work out. Byun, he needs to make a move eventually here. He still doesn't have +2 for his tanks, and it just makes such a big difference as Byun or Maru is able to stim forward here. The Marines, they just don't die. The tank line is 15 tanks for Maru to the 13 of Byun. He was producing 2 tanks at a time, but it just feels like you have to make a move. You have to find some advantage, but what are you going to do? You're leaving tanks behind by accident, although the Marines aren't here for Maru. They get back in time. That Byun has to respect it, and now suddenly he's down about 30 supply, but Maru, if he gets too antsy here, if he stims too far forward, the game can start to snowball again. You still have this massive Viking count for Byun. You still have the ability for him to stim in. Byun, love this Liberator harass. It's something that Maru has been doing to him all game. Finally is going to get some payback for it. 3 SCVs go down. Now we're going to see him stim on into this additional base. He's going to knock down the command center. The tanks are here from Maru as the drop comes through. Byun has to back up, but just leaves the Vikings to try and knock it down. And there should be just enough Viking DPS to kill the orbital command center. And again, Rushi, we are at even supplies.
Oh, this is just, I mean, the back and forth. I mean, TVTs are already so much of back and forth, and this is just constantly pushing towards the center. It's not even one player trying to take an advantage here at this point. It's, I want to make sure that we are dead even. I want this game to continue. And this series is, I mean, it's just an iconic one in general, but you've got to give tons of credit to Byun, fighting through wrist issues, playing against one of the greatest Terrans maybe to ever play the game ever. Oh, Maru's going to be able to jump in here. He doesn't get a whole bunch of worker kills, but he does kill off yet another command center, and that is just continued harassment on both sides here. Both players just throwing haymakers left and right, and just neither one willing to sit down.
I mean, neither of them are really even mining Byun. He does have that base that's still up. Mind you, he sniped the orbital command center. Finally, Maru is going to be able to mine from this bottom right-hand corner, but because he cleans up the Liberator, but that was denying mining for so long, as this is a great position here for Byun. Is going to try and snipe that tank, just barely can't, but he's knocking down, I mean, medevacs with these Vikings. He can, if he wants to, he can actually dive on top of those tanks with the Vikings, but the Liberator is just going to be used to push them away. Maru trying to reestablish a few bases here is going to finally take that income advantage back. Liberator, not enough tanks here to really protect it, so the Marines stim forward and snipe it down. Man, this is just an absolutely insane game, and you gotta respect Byun here. I mean, TVT for the longest time, it was his weakest matchup, and now he's coming in here. He's making it look close. He's tied up with Maru. He's looking to take game 3. He's gonna be able to start to snipe away these tanks. Just in range of the command center now to start firing at it, but Maru, he's swinging it across the map. Byun, though, he has reinforcements that are coming in. He has tanks that are sieging up. He has a Liberator. It feels like, I mean, Maru, if he stims in here, it might be a mistake. He doesn't know that Byun has so much available. And now if these tanks go down, that might just be the momentum that Byun is looking for. Sure, he loses so many workers, but you clean up a massive chunk of Maru's army, and you get the command center because Maru was not able to repair it in time. Byun's going to take another base now. He's going to stim forward. Byun, he's down to 26 workers, but he is crippling Maru.
It's just a matter of whether or not Maru can really continue to deal damage here. Up these ramps, though, this is not the engagement that he needed to look for. Although he is trying to make the most of it here. He's got tanks unsieged, and he's just working away on these siege tanks of Byun. Maru with an incredible push here. He makes the most out of a rough situation, and now Byun is going to have to lift up that northwestern base. The damage was not incredibly felt on the lower right-hand corner as well. Maru loses the base, but he pulled all the workers, so he keeps them alive. Look at the worker count here. Titan 53 to 18. That economy, if Maru can stretch this out, it's going to pay absolute dividends for him.
I mean, Maru, it feels like he somehow makes the move, but now Byun's stimming in. He has the tank line set up. He's trying to make the fight work. He's ahead in the army supply. Maru, though, if he is given time, he has a base that is still mining. Byun does not have that luxury. Byun right now is just working with this massive army. The tanks are out of position. Oh, Byun, he doesn't see it. But these tanks are extremely out of position here. The Liberator is going to be able to force them away. That's going to be kills onto the tanks here. And they're both going to go down. Byun, this is it. He has to win with this push. I think just get in range of the command center. No, Maru has to pull into this massive tank line that's already been set up. Maru needs to win the fight here. This is all of his Marines. The tanks are firing away. Maru, he's winning the fight, though. The army supply drops. The tank line is still continuing back, though. Maru, he can't chase it down, and now the worker supply is even. Both players have one base. We're down to such low supplies. What is this game?
Oh, and Maru's putting all of his eggs into the Raven basket here. He's got 2 Ravens in production. That is the biggest way. Oh my gosh, look at that. 360 Marines to 365 Marines. It can't get much more close than that. I mean, this is an incredible series between these two. This has been such an even game. Both players playing incredibly well. But now, Maru has the opportunity to utilize those spellcasters to try and close this game out. But he can't throw away these Marines.
Yeah, the CVs have to be pulled. The focus fire from Maru is going to get the first tank. Second tank gets low, but it's not going to be knocked down. As we have lost over 2 years worth of Marines at this point. Liberator harass so good from Byun. Yes, this is exactly what he needs to try and stay in this game, because Maru right now has the advantage. Another orbital command center is going to land. Mules would be absolutely massive for Byun, but Maru, he's looking to pull the boys. He's looking to attack. Byun will get advanced notice of this, and I don't know if you fight this army straight up. I mean, he has the tanks already sieged up. You let Maru push into you here, but the Ravens are out. The auto turrets are out. There's not a lot here. Oh, the auto turrets get canceled, though, but the SCV is being pulled. It just feels like Maru might have too much GG. Maru wins it. What a game, though.
Wow. I mean, just teetering on the edge so many different times in this game. And Maru squeezing out a 30-minute win against Byun. Oh, man, if you're Byun, you've just got to feel so deflated at this point. You had so many opportunities to capitalize on the win. And this just... wow. I mean, what a stunning play from Maru. It's not a surprise to say that he was able to come back, but in the way that he made it happen, absolutely just beautiful work.
Here we are. Final game. So close, that last one. I mean, this could be the final game. It's all it takes is one win for Maru. Beyond what do you have in your pocket? It's just, I don't know, man. After that last game, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no clue. This could go any way. You know, we might see Maru just suddenly, he doesn't make any Marines. He's just building Hellions. It's Maru's going mech. I have no idea what we're going to see on Inside and Out. These games have been absolutely wild. It's been an absolute treat. No matter what happens here, it's going to be, I mean, whatever happens, whichever player advances, it's absolutely going to be deserved. If Byun wins 2 in a row here, then there's no doubt that he deserves it. He'll have that break to rest up, to, you know, really make sure his wrist feels good, and then, yeah, we'll have to see.
I'm a little bit surprised at how standard this is turning out to be so far. They're almost in lockstep with each other on their build path. So this is going to be less shenanigans. I think that game was too close for Maru. I don't think he expected that to go the direction that it did. So the lack of any additional proxy at this point, the lack of anything that is incredibly weird, at least at the early onset, does not surprise me here. I am curious to see how things are going to develop, though, as they both take their low ground expansions about the same time. I mean, they're synced up. They're playing an Archon game, just like separate sides of the map here, where everybody's going to do the same thing at the same time. We will start seeing a little bit of deviation here, getting the reactor out earlier for Maru on that barracks. It's possible we could start seeing Maru get that initial aggression going, but yeah, I mean, you asked the question, what does Byun do to really upend Maru in this game number 4? I'm a bit concerned that there isn't a whole lot that can happen here other than just really catching him off position. That's the beauty of TVT, though. I mean, one wrong position for either player, and suddenly a giant swing can take place, and there's just nothing you can do to stop it. I think Byun is going to have to capitalize on that, but that's important. Maru has to commit that mistake, and Byun has to capitalize. I think that's important to consider.
Yeah, I mean, oh, here we go, Byun. Trying to move on up. Has actually the 2 Reapers and 3 Hellions, so there's a bit more pushing power. Immediately gets 2 SCVs. Is going to just take this fight. Maru just did not have enough units built here early on, and so Cyclone pops out. Nice block there with the supply depot, but 3 SCVs this early. That's absolutely worthwhile for the few units that Byun lost, and I think Maru not very happy with that trade, just looking at his face. I was gonna say, I mean, these two, it's such a close battle. It is just absolutely insane. And Ravens for both players, and yeah, as you said, this is the exact same opening. They are respecting each other completely. They're going for a standard macro opener. And I feel like one thing that's kind of like really interesting and cool as well as, you know, Maru and Byun are also really good friends. Like they are constantly hanging out together. You'll see it on Byun's Twitter. They actually did play an Archon tournament together, if you remember back to that AfreecaTV Archon tournament. But yeah, it's, you know, these players, they know each other. They know each other. What's going on here from Maru? He's got a strange look on his face.
Yeah, he's not happy losing all of those forward units there. He did get the Cyclone picked off. That was supposed to be some harassment that was going to deal a little bit of damage, but now it's forcing Maru backwards. He's got to start rethinking things. The Raven count is on the way, so revisiting game number 1, those Ravens worked out very, very efficiently for him, and it is going to just be 1 Raven so far for Byun as he switches into that Viking production, which is not inherently bad, but I do think that Maru has the opportunity to take these Ravens into the later game once again, as he's going to start up a 3rd Raven as well. Does he have the defenses here, though, to stop this push? I mean, this is a decent amount of units. I think Maru should be fine, especially since he gets a little bit of advance notice, gets that Marine out to figure things out. That tank's going to have to siege up just a little bit further back than it otherwise might have wanted to, but Maru definitely prepared for what Byun's bringing.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I'm loving this from Byun. You just set up a contain. It makes it so hard for Maru, and you could tell Maru, he was so unhappy with the start of this game. He lost workers, he lost units. He had no idea what Byun was doing, and so now he's going to be stuck in his base for a little while. And these Vikings, they make it so hard for these Ravens to actually find value. I love that Byun has added them on, because now Maru, he can't push forward with the Ravens. He can't get vision. Byun is just going to sit here. He's going to make sure that Maru is going to be feeling the pressure, while behind this Byun, well, he's sitting very comfortably at 48 workers. You know, there's not really an issue. 4 Vikings at a time. This is such an interesting build here for Byun. You don't often see double starport with 1 barracks, 1 factory, but that's exactly what Byun is doing. And this is a build that looks to fully take advantage of the early game weakness of Marines, to take advantage of the fact that tanks are so powerful, and these Vikings, they can just drop down, they can outmaneuver the tanks, they can outmaneuver the Cyclones, and their DPS is so high, they will rule the air and the sky. This is, I mean, this is not the build I expected from Byun, but it's just working wonderfully. He's forced to lift up on the starport as well, and now he's going to dive onto these tanks. Vikings need to hit the deck. They're not going to be able to. Tanks siege forward. They're going to be able to snipe 1 tank. And for a Viking, that's absolutely worthwhile for Byun, because this is a 2-base all in, and it's going to, feels like it's working so well to start, at least.
Well, and I think he can be a little bit more brazen with these Vikings. He's got additional coming across the map, so he can afford to toss away 1 or 2 if it gives him a little bit better advantage, but he can't afford to throw away the ground army. That is a very valuable asset right now. It's all in tanks. It's all in Liberator right now as the production. Byun is going to take his 3rd base, though, so this isn't going to be incredibly all in. This could have a potential to trade, but I think Byun wants to try and strike at the heart of Maru. He wants to take this to game number 5. The workers get pulled off of the back of this. These Vikings
matrix.
have nothing to do with anything. Interference matrix onto that tank, and this is starting to look like a very scary situation here for Maru.
I mean, this is just this build. You don't see it often, but you see how effective it can be. This is the one that you run into on the ladder, and it frustrates you so bad as the auto turret harass is going to come through. Is it going to be able to find enough return damage? Though the auto turret's spaced extremely well. 10 SCVs falling down. There should be more as 12 SCVs fall. But mind you, that 3rd command center, as you said, is so massive here for Byun. That means he's not completely all in. He now has a Liberator as well. You can start to push these tanks forward alongside the power of the Vikings. You saw their DPS is so good, but Byun needs to get these SCVs mining. Those SCVs need to be mining. Marines pushing forward. Ooh, Maru losing track of his units a little bit here. And this is getting very, very deadly. The Vikings there moving forward. There's no more Marines to stop them from just hitting the deck and getting on top of that tank, and I think they have. The tank goes down. The Vikings showing off just how quickly they shed through those armored units, and Maru, the natural, has to be evacuated. It's just the Ravens across the map for Maru trying to find return damage, and they're getting 5-7 SCVs. They're doing work. They're actually getting all of them because Byun just hasn't moved the SCVs. Byun is focusing so hard on winning the game with this all in that the SCVs all fall down. It's 50 armor supply to 56. Maru has a lot to work with here, but the tank is going to go down. The Vikings hit the deck. They're going to snipe the other tank. Massive moves here by Byun to get rid of the splash damage for his opponent, and now the tanks are going to slowly march forward. Here we go for Byun, or for Maru. This is the last chance, but the tank line is so deep. The Vikings have so much DPS, and it looks like Maru is not going to be able to break out.
No, it's just enough workers saved here for Byun, but 42 taken down for Maru. He's left with 5 workers. I don't even care how good mules are. That's just not enough to try and balance. So Maru has to take it. He's got to abandon his base. This is a lost cause. His only opportunity to win this game and close this series out is going across the map right here, right now. But Vikings are in production right now back at home for Byun. This is a very good possibility that Maru's not going to be able to get what he needs to here. But how do you defend this?
No, look at Byun. He saw it though with a Marine. He pulls a tank back. He keeps that in the natural. And the fact that he has a tank here, the Vikings, one's going to get sniped. And it's stim for Maru. That upgrade finished up. Maru actually has 1-1 on his Marines. He finished that behind all of this. They're not going to go down to the splash damage. A few of them do end up falling. But a massive move here by Maru. The stim is going to do so much damage. He lifted off one of his command centers. Byun has done the same. We have command centers lifted off in this game. But if it gets to this point where we're trading bases, where we have units lifted off, Byun has Vikings. Byun has the anti-air. He can chase these command centers into corners. This is these games, Rushi. This is peak TVT. You are not going to see anything else like this as Byun is just trying to clear out this base. There's a few Marines left. There's the Ravens. Maru, he still has some highly efficient units here that he can try and take advantage of, but he's not going to be able to get rid of that command center in the corner. Byun can keep that alive. If Byun can actually... Is there mining? Oh my god, Maru got SCVs out. Maru has 1 SCV mining. Byun, he's not going to be able to force a draw even if this army gets cleaned up. Maru, he's going to look to try and take the fight. He has the Ravens. He knows that this is going to be a chance. Did the Ravens? Yeah, they're still alive. Oh my. Maru, he needs to find this surround. He needs to find the engagement of a lifetime right now. He is mining again, and that is so important. Byun is going to see the Ravens. He's going to see the Marines. This game is so intense.
Yeah, I mean, it now comes down to some really important decision-making here. How do you advance this forward? I mean, both players have bases out on the map. Maru already has mining going. It's not a crazy amount, but also there's not a lot he can do with it. His production structures are also in the air, so the mining is crucial, but until Maru is able to actually put those buildings back on the ground, he's not going to be able to capitalize this. Oh, that is going to be a vulnerable barracks here. It doesn't quite get into danger zone just yet. Not going to burn down. Maru is going to be able to find so much value out of these Ravens here if he's able to use them. It does look like that Starport is on its way out as well. Raven's going to be able to find some of the mining happening here for Byun in the main base. That's going to be good. A couple more workers picked off. That was actually the last SCVs. Byun has no more SCVs at this point.
Yeah, but he has a bunch of supply depots and he has the money to rebuild. I mean, the thing is, Maru is mining here. He doesn't have... He has 12... Oh, the Vikings, no! Byun! He loses the Vikings, GG! Oh, my.
Oh,
that's all it takes.
Wow, incredible positioning there by Maru, and he closes out the series 3-1. What a way! What a way to end this. I can't even believe what we saw there. That was an outstanding just position play all the way around for Maru. Oh, man.